Okay, so today is the day 4 of our live course. We still have about 4 more days to go to actually finish up. And we started first of all understanding IAM, right? Policies, creating users and all. Then later we went to the networking aspect, which was VPC, subnet, internet gateway. And when you people did your project one, I was really impressed. I was proud. I was just giving a shout out to Richie. I noticed his LinkedIn was just very soon people will even be sending him connection because at least he took the bold step. He was able to post what he did in the first project. This project is building on that. If you notice, we're actually building on what we've been doing before, right? We built on. So yesterday, when we wanted to deploy, we discovered that we can't really deploy without any VPC, the networking aspect being put in place. So we kind of built on that, right? So that was the thing we did yesterday. Yesterday, because we were running out of time, there was something we were supposed to touch that we did not touch. Remember yesterday, I was telling us about snapshots. Can you remember? We talked about how you take snapshots, right? So that in case anything happened, you can actually revert back to that snapshot, right? So I'm going to be quickly demonstrating that for us, right? So I will go back to my EC2 instance. This was the EC2 instance we created. So how do I take snapshots? We talked about snapshots. How do I take snapshot of this EC2 instance, right? That's another thing. How do I go about it? Is there anything like snapshot here? Let me zoom out so that I can see my screen. So I'm going to zoom in out, plus. I believe you can see it better now. Good. So how do I take snapshots? If you really come here, that's this side, this panel. Can you see my mouse moving? Okay. So this panel, if you go down, you can actually see AMI. We'll be creating AMI today of our application that we are building. And I really love us to create a very simple AMI because we want to also use it to test out our auto scaling. We are going to be doing something great today that you can use, you can offer it as a service to people. And when you're actually finally working as a cloud engineer, it's production grade, not just a tutorial thing, right? Whereby we are going to be covering detailed auto scaling, how application scales, so that even on your own, when you create your own application, you know how to deploy it, you know how to configure the scaling, so that if by some reason you go viral and people are actually hitting your application, how you don't need to be panicking because it has the ability to scale and it has the ability to what retract back. So now, but that's not what I want to quick show us now is snapshot, right? So we have our EC2 instance, but when we go to snapshots, do we have any snapshots running already? I think the answer is no. I don't think I have snapshots. So you can see currently I don't have a snapshot, right? It's very easy to create a snapshot. I just need to come here and click on create snapshots, right? If I create snapshot, so what snapshot do you want to create? You want to create a volume snapshot, meaning I just want to take, remember the analogy we're using yesterday, you have your laptop, your hard disk, right, is what we call volume on the cloud. So your hard disk is the volume on the cloud. Your laptop itself is what we call EC2 in the cloud. Please remember that. So if I want to take snapshot on the volume, or I want to take snapshot of multiple volume, can you see create multi-volume snapshot from an instance? So maybe, for example, the instance has, I want to create multiple volume, but what we're interested in just creating a volume. Now, what is the volume ID? If I click on drop down, it's actually going to show me all the volumes I have on this system. But you can see, because I only have one, showing me one. But the question is, what if you have more than, you have 100 EC2 instance and they tell you create a volume, right? How do you know the volume ID of the EC2 instance you want to create? So I'll quickly duplicate this tab so that at least I can also have it open, right? This is where I'm working on. But I want to go back to the EC2 instance itself and show you my volume, right? So I'm going to come back here. Yeah, my system is overloaded again. I'm running a lot of things, right? So pardon me. So I'll come back here, go to my EC2 instance. I want to get the volume. What is my volume ID? Because it's easy for me to just tell you that, and you will think, oh, that's just, it is there. You are working for an organization, right? You are working for an organization, and guess what they tell you? They tell you go and create a volume of one instance, and you click on drop down, and you see like 20, 30 volumes, right? And you are like, which one is volume ID again. So that's why I want to save you the stress, right? So if you see your instance, this is your own instance ID. Can you see now? This is your instance ID. But if you keep coming down, no, if you go to storage, right? No, I told you volume is your storage, right? If you go to storage and you scroll down, okay, and you scroll down, can you see your volume ID here? So yeah, the volume ID of the instance I want to create, it will be under the storage. So let me queue some processes that are running that I don't need so that my system can be faster. Yeah, I always have a lot of processes running because I do other work. So, but then when you're also on a Google Meet and you are, is a live call, it also takes a lot of processes. So let me just end some of these processes. Yeah, I was doing I spent over the night doing some database migration. So I'm just going to close down most of the tools I used so that my system can be faster. No, yeah, is it okay? So back here now, can you see the volume now? Please let me know I'm talking to people, I'm not talking to myself. So if you come back here, right, this is the volume ID, right? In this case, what's our volume ID? Our volume ID is what? The last number is 7975, right? Good. So when I come back here and I want to create snapshot and I drop down that volume, I'm going to look for the volume that has 7975, right? Are we clear about this now? So I pick that volume. I'm taking my time to explain to you because you will say, oh, Victory just clicked and just click on the first. It's not the first. I'm clicking on the first because on this account is only one volume I have, right? And you can have multiple volumes to even an instance. So you need to know this volume you want to snapshot. It's like on your laptop, you have drive A, drive C, drive D, drive E, drive F, right? And you want to take a snapshot. Remember when I say snapshot, like you're just taking a backup so that your informations are saved there. So that if there's any time you need to mount that volume again, you're able to mount it again, right? So that is it. Then what was the description? I can just say took this on the 14th of February, right? On the 14th of February, right? I can just adjust the description. Remember, I also told you things about encryption. But if you did not set up encryption early, you can see not encrypted because in the initial volume was not encrypted, right? So we'll talk about this. Always add tag. Tag makes you to understand what you are actually doing, right? So I can just purpose. Then I can just say Valentine, so that we'll celebrate Valentine backup. Right? So maybe you took a lot of pictures on Valentine, or your company made a lot of sales on Valentine, right? And you just want to like show that, oh, we do this on Valentine. So you create snapshots, and that allows it to create a snapshot. So if I come to my snapshot now, I can just come Valentine backup or the name of the listing. Always name it properly so that you also know the EC2 instance that that volume was attached to. So in my own case now, it's actually get techie EC2, right? I think we use EC2 lab, then I can now do backup. Do you understand it? Then just for me to tag it properly so that when you come here, you will be able to know where the snapshot is coming from, right? So I have the snapshot. Now the question is, right, what if for some reason I need the snapshot back, right? Like something happened, I've misplaced the operating system on the other disk got corrupt or something, and I need to restore snapshot. It's very simple. I can just come here to go back to the snapshot, come to snapshot. I will see the list of the snapshot I have. You can see this my snapshot is just 8 gig snapshot. What can I do with it? If I check it, like if I come here and check on this snapshot, I can do a lot with it. If I come to action, right, I can come here, snapshot setting. I can either archive the snapshot or go to snapshot setting, modify, change snapshot, or manage fast snapshot restore, like how I can actually manage how to restore these snapshots back, right? I know that I also have this snapshot. I can also attach it. I can delete snapshots, right? I can do a lot with this snapshot. So I can actually restore my snapshot, modify the permission, who has access to this snapshot, who does not have access to this snapshot, and the list go on and on and on, right? Okay, so I just wanted to quickly cover that because yesterday we're not really having time to cover that. I hope we kind of get that bit, how you create a snapshot. Then of course you're always going to delete when you've done, no, not delete in real life, but of course, because this is class, it's always good to delete. Remember, we carry calculator and we calculate it, right? Okay, you can see it also takes time for snapshots. So you can see this my snapshot is actually in a pending state. So that's why for now, if I click on action, I might not be able to create an image or create another volume from the snapshot because it's still pending. But once it's done, I can now actually create image from the snapshot or restore it to another volume, create another volume and mount it on another system. What am I trying to say in essence? Let us say this EC2 instance, I did a lot of things. I store a lot of things in the volume. I create a snapshot from it, right? Which is like creating a copy of it. Then the EC2 instance, either anything happen to it, and it must not be anything happen to it, right? Anything mustn't happen to it. But I need to create another EC2 instance so that we have that data. I'll create a snapshot of this, which I've done. When I now create another EC2 instance, I can now attach this as a volume to that instance, right? By so doing, I can access things on a secondary volume. Do we get that? Any question based on this so far? Please let me know if you understand what I just explained. Remember, it's not just the volume of information, but the level of understanding we have. Okay, Elijah, your hand is raised. Let's ask your question, please.
Yeah, I'm good. It's not really a question. I'm good with the explanation. I wanted to remind you if you've activated the recording option or something.
Yes, I have.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that. Okay, do anybody have question regarding this? Can we move on for today? Please pay attention. Yesterday's class and today's class, if you see we are building on it, we are not starting afraid, is what will determine how you are going to do your project, right? So let us quickly review the project we have for this week, right? Let me see. Let's quickly review the project we have for this week, and then we can. So if we come here, project for this week.
Hello, ma. Please, can I quickly get an understanding about something, please? On what you just explained now, I want to know if an EC2 instance, for instance, that is having an operating system issue.
Can you pause the video you are playing? Am I the one playing video? No,
it's not me.
Okay, continue, please.
Okay, my question is, peradventure an EC2 instance run into issue as per the operating system. Does it mean that that volume can be the image of that volume that we did a snapshot can be replicated to this one, to the one that is having issue?
I think I didn't get you. Okay, so let me give you a scenario that happened in my company. That was just last month, right?
Okay.
My company, the company I work for here in the UK, we do a lot of stuff, right? But we are an healthcare company. And what do? We have hardware. Like you see all these necklaces, we create necklace, we create pendants, but it's not just for fashion. We create it for healthcare purpose. So elderly living people, that's people that are old, right? They buy our pendant, so they wear. To you think they are wearing necklace. They buy our handband or whatever. To you, they are wearing handband. But it has a lot of sensors in them, right? And those sensors and those, they are connected to our own operating system. So if an elderly person, because in case you don't mind, most for context, for those in the Europe people actually live very, very long. Like their lifespan expectancy is high. Here in the UK, you see people of 80, like my neighbor she's 80, 84, 85. She stays by herself with her husband. She still drives, right? But most time, these people are vulnerable. Do you understand? Some of them don't want to go to care home, and their culture is not like our culture, whereby you have to bring your parents in, right? So we do supported living for them in the sense that they wear our pendants and all. But if they fall or any emergency things happen, right? You see that pendant they are wearing and that necklace they are wearing, it will call. Do you understand? Automatically it will trigger a call to a call center. And from that pendant, we speak to them. Are you okay? Are you all right? If after a long time, you don't like, not a long time, if within second you check all the signals and there's no response, immediately we send, because we already know where that signal is coming from. We send ambulance, we send support, they go straight to their house and they attend to them because it's possible they are in a state whereby they can't respond. Do you get what we do as a company now? Good. So we have what we call a server whereby we are actually using to also do all this thing. So recently there was a server that was set up to handle a lot of those calls and all, but for some reason the server was abandoned for a while, although not the production server, but at a point the operating system kind of crashed, like, and everything, and the installation is not funny because you have to install SIP to enable some internet protocol calls and all of that. So the operating system crashed, right? And one of the things is get this thing working. You will not understand. You cannot even say you want to go and start because you don't even know what was even installed on that system, right? So one of the things we did was just, number one, was there a snapshot? Immediately we saw that there was a snapshot. When was the now snapshot taken? Now I used to tell you about, fine, it's okay for you to have snapshot, but when was the last snapshot taken? So if you have a lot of information and now that disk, so what happened was that the disk, like the EC2 instance now, although we use Azure, so while on AWS we have EC2 instance, on Azure we have what we call VMs. Azure called their own VM, virtual machines, right? So on that virtual machine, right, because for example window update or whatever, something did not go well, the virtual machine were not starting. It was an operating system issue. It's like your laptop now, without an operating system you can't start, you can't even do anything, right? And remember, operating system reside in the disk, not just the computer itself. So like on your own laptop, when you want to install operating system, the operating system is in your C drive. That C drive, you need to understand it and protect it, right? So the operating system was on the disk. So if you say you want to remove that disk and mount it on another EC2 instance, the operating system was already corrupted on the disk. So the only thing we could do was, when was the last time that we took a snapshot that the operating system was healthy, that we could log in and all of that? We now went to check. Luckily, it wasn't that long enough. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we now went and checked the snapshot. What we just have to do, you see those snapshots, we created it into a disk. The same EC2 instance, we didn't delete the EC2 instance because EC2 or the VM wasn't the problem. The disk was the problem. So what we just have to do is just to attach the new, like that one we've made into a disk, attach it and make the EC2 instance or the VM boot from that snapshot. And everything was restored. The informations were there and everything. I'm telling you this not because I'm teaching, but this is what I like. I'm just telling you 2 weeks project that I handled. Do you understand? So that is how we do it in an organization. You need to have snapshots. You can actually do an automation script. You can write a Python automation script to take snapshots every day. In short, some companies, like I told you, depend on how sensitive the information is. They can be taking snapshots every 1 hour. Every 30 minutes, taking backup, taking snapshot, so that in case anything happens, do you understand? You have something to fall back on. I told you all through the night I did data migration. Before I even started doing the migration at all, because I had a database, which that database processed billions of naira. Is a major thing. So for me to do that migration, I need to first of all take snapshots. In short, after I took snapshot, I meant to check, did I have the snapshots? I took another snapshot because I know that if 1 millisecond detail missed up, right, with that some will be missing. Yes, snapshot is backup, right? So you understand? So that's where you need to like take snapshots so that you have your data safe. Now snapshots, you can preserve them, you can store them. Do you understand? But in case anything happens, you can always go back and restore. Also to a point in time, There are sometimes you just want to go back. Hey, this thing happened, this did not happen, it happened, did not happen, did not happen. Just set up another ICT instance, use the snapshot as the volume attached to it, and you can be able to see what happened and what did not happen. I hope I answered your question, Elijah, right? Is it Elijah that has that question? So
very well taken. Thank you.
Yeah, I like using real life scenario. So yes,
Yeah.
what do we have? So if you go to my courses, right, and you come to our Get Techie challenge, you come to continue project, right? Click on continue project. Please, if you have any issue with the portal for any reason, let me know. I'm still working on the portal. I'm designing it and also talking to you. So our week 2, what are we supposed to do in week 2? We are supposed to deploy a simple app, right? App is not the problem, it's the infrastructure and the architecture behind it that is the problem, right? So we're going to design a simple app, and I will tell you how we design a simple app. With 1 or 2 commands, we'll actually be able to get a good app out, right? So we design a simple app like a reward production service, right? So number 1, we are supposed to have launch templates with user data to install and run like Nginx or a simple app. Yesterday you saw we actually have a user data that we created Apache and we ran web hello from EC2 instance, right? So that's what we are just simply saying. Then you are going to do auto scaling group across 2 AZs. Remember, when I'm doing for you, I will do across 1 AZ. You have to do across 2 AZs, right? Application load balancer, target group, and health checks. You are meant to be able to do that. Then CloudWatch alarm to scale out on CPU. Maybe based on the CPU gets to this particular this thing, your applications should scale, right? Then you should be able to test your load balancer DNS, right? We're also going to do that. Then we can do instant replacement test. What is the outcome? I can run a scalable compute behind an ALB. I will explain that to you. So when you are done, upload your screenshot. You cannot upload more than 5, right? And your screenshot should not be more than 5 MB. Upload your screenshots, do your detail write-up, and you submit your project. Is that okay? Okay. So are we clear about that now? So this is actually what we are expected to achieve for this week. If you have issue with the portal, like I said, let me know. Okay, so that being said, right, I just want to do that. Let us go back to our business of the day: load balancer and auto scaling. But before we go, do we have any question based on what I've said so far? We can interact, we can ask questions. Do we have any question based on what I've asked so far? Just 2 minutes for question, then we'll move on. Any question? Are we together at all? Oh God. Okay, if you said so, this is opportunity you have to ask question. Please ask, right? Please ask. If you ask question, you have better clarity. Like I said, whatever I teach you, you can actually watch it on YouTube. But the difference between this live class and YouTube is that in this live class right now, you can ask questions. On YouTube, you can ask questions. Okay, now let's go. Load balancer and auto scaling. What do we understand by this word, load balancer and auto scaling? So we said that it maintains high availability and response to fluctuating demand by combining load balancing and auto scaling. So please, for those designing architecture, we will also need architecture. I don't think I'll walk you through design architecture. I showed you an example, so you can actually check for architecture and design the architecture. So we said maintain high availability and respond to fluctuating demand by combining load balancing and auto scaling. That's what it means, right? It's able to balance load. Now, let me use the scale analogy. Most of us have seen scale, right? Whereby when there's a load in this one, the other one is free. When there's a load in this, so when we say balancing load, is that at least you should have equal load, right? So what that simply means, let me put it in a presenting mode. Let me see if I can draw. If I put it in a presenting mode, I should be able to draw so that I will show you what I mean. Okay. So okay. Just let me know if you can see my screen. So let me pick and see if I can draw. I need a pen. So what that simply means is that if you have a server A, and you have another server B. So let's call this one server A, and let's call this one server B, right? Now you have traffic coming from the internet. So let's say this one is internet, right? Internet, let's just call it int. You have traffic coming from the internet, right? What a load balancer does, let's say you will now have a load balancer. So this server A and server B will not just be exposed to the internet, but it is the load balancer knows there's a server A and server B, and they contain the same application. But when traffic is coming, right, what the load balancer does, if one traffic comes, it directs it to this. If another traffic is coming, it directs it to this. Now imagine, 100 traffic is coming from the internet. Now, when I say traffic, you are the traffic. The user is the traffic, right? When I mean traffic is, you go on Amazon and you type amazon.com and you start shopping things. You are a traffic, right? Me, I go on Amazon, I go amazon.com, I search, I'm a traffic. Meaning, so when you hear traffic, right, it's not the Lagos traffic, right? So you are a traffic. So when we say traffic eating your site, it's people using your website. So the human being or whatever is making requests to that your endpoint, they are traffic. So imagine 100 of us go on Amazon, meaning they have 100 traffic. And you know Amazon actually have millions of traffic every minute or every seconds, right? But as the 100 is coming, if you just only have one server B, that's where your application is. And because of the capacity of this server B, right? Let's say this server B, because we want to save money, right? So we just have a small EC2 instance, right? That is processing our application. The more people hit this application,
what happens? Is breaking.
Oh, it's breaking. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for, please, in case you can't hear me, just call it
not
out.
breaking, or I checked your side. You can hear how loud and clear.
I think it's his side because you are fine from here. You are fine.
Oh, thank you so much. I love that. Thanks. Okay, so the more, imagine you only have one server. Okay, so before load balancer, right? You have this server, just that server we set up yesterday. But on this server is where your application is running, right? So this is just one server. So let's just call this one A. And you have internet traffic coming from the internet, right? So as those people are coming, they are coming to your server and they are making a lot of requests. Requests does not mean give me money. Requests can be you transactioning, and do a lot of things. Like example of the server is just what I just showed you, the application portal. As all of you logged in, funny enough, the application portal, right? Let me say, I remember the first day, over 50-something person logged into the application portal to be able to have access to the link, right? The meeting link, right? So the server can accommodate it. It didn't even shake. But imagine suddenly, for some reason, I just go viral and I advertise this course, and about 1 million people wants to log in. The server will crash. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So imagine 1 million people constantly eating. Number one, the network input output, the processing will be so high. Hey, a lot of people are pulling me. Hey, what can I do? The next thing, this server will get to 100% CPU utilization. And guess what happened? It cannot supply this traffic anymore. People are now saying, I'm getting an error. I'm getting a 504 error. How many of you have ever tried to visit a website and you get 504 error? How many of you have you ever seen that error? Yes, it means it's timing out. It's timing out because you cannot get response from that server. Do you get what I mean? So you start getting 504 error, right? Because the traffic is much, right? You get 504, not my 5. You get 504 error. Why? The traffic is high. This server cannot handle it anymore. So it starts timing out because I need to like, hey, this request they've given to me, how can I process it? So it starts timing out, right? So now like, okay, what can we do? We now put a load balancer, right? And that's what auto-scaling is all about. We now configure auto-scaling and like, okay, fine. If a traffic is already hitting you and it's getting too much, immediately you notice that your CPU and your memory is getting to 80% utilization, or let me just say 70% utilization. Cry for help. This percent anyway. Cry for help. Meaning with this auto scaling configuration, immediately the server is getting to like 70%. Guess what happened? It triggered an auto scaling, and it's just on its own without you being there. It will create another copy of this server B. But you see, it will not have, because if you create server B, right? And because this internet only have, let me say your domain name is victory.com, right? Because the internet only know how to go on victory.com, just like we only go on amazon.com. We don't know how many servers are behind Amazon. So we're not calling Amazon server name directly, rather we're just calling amazon.com. So because your server name is victory.com, right? Don't mind me, this .com. Because your server name is just victory.com, people are just going to call victory.com. They are not going to say, oh, Victory has gotten another server, or let us call the server the name of the other server, because they are not even aware. They don't even know what is happening behind the scene, right? So they'll keep calling victory.com. So without this load balancer, even if you scale, guess what? And if this is the endpoint, if this IP address is what you type to victory.com, no matter, even if you have 20 more servers that can handle that request, this guy is still going to be overwhelmed and start crashing. But now, because we've configured auto scaling, we now have a load balancer. So as these 100 people are still coming, this load balancer is aware of how many servers have that application. So as you are calling victory.com, the first traffic, this guy say, take this one. The second one say, take this one. At the end, you see this load balancer guy is able to give this guy 50 traffic, and he's going to give this guy how many? 50 what? Traffic. Can you see why they call it load balancer? It balances the load. It balances the traffic. Now, mind the terms I'm using. I'm using load, and I'm using what? Traffic. Traffic, you are the traffic, you are the load, because you are the one querying and asking, right? So it's able to balance and give it 50-50. And if the load is now also becoming too much, guess what happened? It is still not server C. Behind the scene is doing all of this. The customer does not know anything. As it spins on the server C, the load balancer is aware of it, and the load balancer. So let us assume that at this point, the traffic has scaled to 200. So the load balancer knows how to balance it. If it's 200, it can give this one like 70, 70. That's 140, right? 60. Do you get what I mean? Or it can even be 65, 65, 65. Add it up, mathematicians, if it's correct, right? So that's actually the OSS of load balancer and auto scaling. As the traffic increases, it set up another server on your behalf. The load balancer knows that there's a new server. Traffic keeps coming, is balancing it. That is just the purpose of all load balancer. And that is what runs between any company, behind any company. And that's why you, as a cloud engineer, you should be able to understand this concept, not just understand it and put it as head knowledge, but be able to do it, configure this, see the load balancer, stress the application, load it up. Do you understand? And actually see it stressed. It's so stressed. And when you see it stressed, based on when it gets to the configuration that you want, it actually spin up another server. You see this, you'll be so happy. In short, after this, you can go and be a cloud engineer. Are we together? Do we understand this concept at all, please? Okay, so actually what we are talking about today. I hope you really understand. Okay, so thank you. So we say maintain a highly available and respond to fluctuating demand. So when we say fluctuating demand, and yes, guess what? After it has spin up these 3 servers that you are seeing here now, after it has spin up these 3 servers, let us assume it was because they made an announcement that they just discovered that you are Donald Trump's brother and you are black and he's white. So people want to come to your website and see if really this news is true. But later they will now discover that it was fake. It was fake rumor. So you see all these plenty people that are coming to your to your site. They're just like, which kind of fake news is it? And instead of like 200,000 that were eating your site that made this server to scale, guess what happened? Automatically, you just turn back to 10 people that just see know you and pity you and like, hey, yeah, right? So they still come to your server. Now, if it's just 10 people that is visiting you, right? If you just send people that is visiting you, right? Why should you now have 3 servers running? Your auto scaling is going to do what we call the cool down period, and it's going to eliminate what? These other servers. It will remove them. At the end, guess what happened? You only have just 1 server running that is able to manage the load. That's actually what you see. But behind the scene, you don't see it. Your own is, you just go Amazon.com, Amazon open, YouTube, YouTube.com, YouTube open. You laugh. Facebook.com, Facebook open. Hey. Yeah, LinkedIn open. Hey. You don't even care, right? But behind the scene, the more they are having traffic, the more they are load balancing. And in case any server even misbehave and goes down, guess what happened? There are other servers to undo the request. Do you understand? So I hope this gives us a broader view of how these things really work in production in real life, right? Let me see thumbs up, or if you are still following me, or if most of you have gone to do your Valentine, just here talking. Okay, Richard and Richmond will give time for question. Let's just quickly move forward. So we say load balancer distributes traffic across multiple targets to prevent overloading any single instance, right? Auto scaling adjusts the number of instances in response to traffic pattern or schedule. Now, in as much that you can respond to pattern, you can also respond to schedule. For example, some company notice that once the time is, for example, I don't know what company to use. Like all this Bet Nigeria, for example. So sorry to use. I think it's a betting site. I've never been there, right? But they know that it is after work. They have traffic, right? So they can actually preset it. They are not even waiting for CPU or memory. They are just going to say, once the time is 4 o'clock, this system should scale to so and so number of server. Then once the time is 10 o'clock, it should scale back to this number of server, because they know. So they can just actually pre-scale. That's what this is. Auto scaling adjusts number of instances in response to either traffic pattern or schedules. So company can actually write a schedule when they want their system to scale, because they understand when the time that their traffic is high or the time that their traffic is low. Together, they ensure reliability. Please, can you see? Performance and what? Cost efficiency. Now the question is, why is cost coming here? Cost is coming here because if you scale out and you are not utilizing it and you keep the server running, you are just going to pay anyway, right? So cost efficiency is that it's able to scale based on response and is able to come down when the response time is gone. I hope we are getting it. Okay. Sorry for the jaga on the slide, but I just needed you to have that understanding. Anyways, my slide anyway, so I shouldn't tell you sorry. Okay, so let's go, right? Application load balancer. So we've talked about load balancer. In AWS, we have what we call application load balancer. What does application? So when you hear ALB, it means application load balancer. What does it mean? Application load balancer operates at layer 7. Now I can't go deep into this. I can't explain to you what's layer 7. But if you actually do networking core into, like if you've done any serious networking course, you'll be hearing of OSI model, layer 1, layer 2, like how network move from your local physical hardware, like from your local physical hardware through to the data link, to the network, and all of that. So you need to actually have, I can't go deep into it, it's another course on its own. But if you're interested, just register in the DevOps course and we'll go down. Then it supports HTTP and WebSocket protocol. SSL offloading, meaning it supports SSL. That's when we mean SSL is, when you go to your browser, is that security, that padlock, right? We easily refer to it as padlock. It just simply means that it's a secure way. Any data you transfer during that with that layer is secure. It's encrypted. It's secure, right? So SSL offloading with centralized certificate management, it actually you're able to actually get certificates. Looking at that, sticky sessions, cross zone, load balancing, and integration with AWS WAF. So you see this load balancer. I told you. Remember when we were talking about architecture the first time, I told you don't really put your application, your server, your EC2 instance, you don't really put it in a public subnet. You don't want people from the internet to even know where the server is, to hit the server. So your server is in a private subnet, but your application load balancer is in a public subnet. And not just that, you see this application load balancer, you can put layers of protections right? You can put a lot of configurations, layers of protection. That's why there are some countries you will be, their application you can never access. Even me that I'm in the UK, there are some application I can access that you in Nigeria cannot access. You in Nigeria, I don't know if it's reverse, right? But I don't know if Nigeria does filtering. But there are some applications that are just location and region based. And you remember when you go to China or which country, you won't be able to use WhatsApp. There are some company you can't use WhatsApp. There are some company you can't use Facebook, right? You will discover that when I was in this country, I was using my Facebook's fly. I flew how many hours and I got there and I can't access Facebook. That's because the country bound it. And how did they bind it? The application did not allow that company and the country. And that's why the only way you can access is to now use VPN tunneling, whereby you now go and use VPN and now disguise and like, oh, I'm now in this country. Since this country can access it, I cannot access it. I hope that makes sense anyway. Most of us know anything about VPN more than me, so let me go on. Yeah, so that's if I'm too fast, just call me back. Then apart from the application load balancer, there's actually what we call the network load balancer, right? What does the network load balancer do? It operates at layer 4, which is the network layer, right? Like I said, I won't go into this deep layer. It's a deep networking concept. So if you're interested, let me know. And deliver ultra low latency and network traffic, right? Handle millions of collections per second with minimal latency. So support TCP, TLS, and UDP protocol. I want to talk about protocol. Preserve the client IP address, then provide static and elastic IP address, enable TLS termination, ideal for high performance or a non-HTTP workload. So yeah, so what's the difference between application load balancer and network load balancer? I brought network load balancer so that you are aware of it. We are not going, network load balancer is vast, it's beyond the scope of this study. But when you want to do some things like internet calls and all, right? Like internet call, then which other one again? Like all these IP calls and all, you actually work with layer 4, right? Because the transfer protocol and anything network based, right? So, but it's beyond the scope of this course, right? Okay, so for what do we mean? In the OSA layer, application load balancer is layer 7, LLB, that's network load balancer, is layer 4. Protocol application load balancer is what we use every day. For any application, we use application load balancer, like that support HTTP and HTTPS requests. But when it comes to network load balancer, it supports TCP, TLS, and the UDP protocol. We are not talking about protocol, it's beyond the scope of this course, so I'm just going to rush through it. But I just wanted to know that there's something like network load balancer, so that in interview, someone can ask you, what is the difference between application load balancer and network load balancer? Walk me through application load balancer. What do you understand about application load balancer? Why can't I use network load balancer instead of application load balancer? At least you even have the concept that there is something like that, right? So that's why we are actually bringing it up. Okay, so then what are the use case? You use application load balancer for your web application for microservices. Microservices is when you actually chunk a very big application into different services so that each services can handle their business themselves. And when one service is down, it does not affect the entire system. For example, like Amazon, I keep making mention of, checkout is a service on its own, payment is a service on its own, add to cart is a service on its own. So it's possible that one service is even down, but you are not aware because you've never even called the endpoint of that service in your interacting with the application. Then security integration, support WAF, then no WAF is supported at a network load balancer. Of course, no WAF will be supported. Okay, then, after target group and edge check, I'm going to give room for questions so that I won't be running too fast. Then I want us to focus on our lab and do our live deep dive. They also have a PDF that will guide us to actually do the lab in case we cannot cover it all. But it's guiding us to do the lab, but it's not going to guide you to do your project. It is based on your understanding of this class and the lab we are going to be doing this class that will actually guide you into doing your project. I hope that is clear. Okay, load balancer rely on target group listeners to route traffic. So a load balancer will rely on a target group. So you create a target group, right? And listeners, either what listeners is it HTTPS or HTTP, like those are the listeners, right? So target group, which is a logical pool of EC2 instance. So a target group is a pool of EC2 instance, right? IP addresses or Lambda function. Each group defines a protocol and port for routing. So you cannot really, load balancer cannot even know where to route to if you don't create the target group for it, right? Then what are listeners? Listener accepts connection on a protocol. Like I said, it's either HTTP or HTTPS, and allow rules to forward traffic to target group. Rule can match host name, path, or HTTP header, right? Then what are edge check? It monitors each target edge on a configurable path and interval. Unhealthy targets are removed from routing until they recover. What do I mean? When it wants to actually route data, it's check the EC2 instance of the line. Is it LD? Is it functioning well? Does it have the application we need? Is the application up and running before it can start forwarding traffic to that endpoint? Then the integrated logging, metrics, CloudWatch. So you need to also have what we call logging and metrics. Being able to understand what is happening in your system per time is what we call log. You are able to see the log, you're able to see the data metrics and all of that. Okay, so that being said, before we quickly go into auto scaling, any questions so far on what I'm saying? Any question? Richmond, you raised your hand before, but I just wanted us to move further. Any question, please? I can't see you, so just any hand
Okay.
raised?
Yes, I wanted to ask now, from what you've explained on the load balancers, we have application load balancer and we have network load balancer. So the system uses both, or does it use can it use one?
Yes, it's one. When we are dealing with applications like what we have now, when we are dealing with applications and all of that, mostly use application load balancer. Most of the time, use application load balancer. Network load balancer is for some specific, right, kind of a workload. Like I said, like IP calls and all, right? You can actually be able to use network load balancers for those.
Okay.
Yeah, but for the purpose of this course, and even most of your encounters, you end up using application load balancer anyway.
Okay.
I just want to bring it up so that you know that something like this exists. You get what I mean?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question from anyone? Okay, now the next thing we look at is auto scaling group. Auto scaling group. An auto scaling group manages a fleet of EC2 instances across multiple AZ. We know what we call multiple AZ, availability zone. I told you EUS1, EUS2, EUS3. If we are using EU, right, can be anywhere, but multiple AZs mean that in a region, you have availability zone 1, where their server are, availability zone 2, availability zone 3. Just use Manchester, Liverpool, and London to always remember. I'm not saying they are there, but I'm just giving you an instance of location where these servers can be. So when you select, you are configuring an auto scaling group, right? It actually gives you the ability. It will on its own. When you configure it can spin up this EC2 instance. So on that line, you can have EC2 instance in different availability zones. Therefore, means that they are running on three different servers, local servers like AWS servers on AWS, right? But they are all running your application. Do you understand? They are in sync, running the application based on how you set it up with launch template. Launches and terminate instance automatically based on scaling policy. So remember I told you that based on that diagram I draw, I don't know if you see there, it's scaled based on the policy, right? Based on what is the policy you set for it to scale. Are you targeting that CPU and CPU getting to a particular distance should scale it? Or are you targeting that when it is so and so time, that's when your company will have traffic, so you should scale it. So the scaling policy will determine how auto scaling group we actually scale, right? Integrate with load balancer and edge check to ensure only LD instance receive traffic. So also it's possible that you set up an EC2 instance and it's not healthy. If it's not healthy, it's not going to send any traffic there. So it's going to be checking the edge check to make sure that, oh, this node is healthy, like it's up and running. When I mean healthy, for example, just spin up a server. Remember yesterday, we spin up a server, we're trying to access it. Meanwhile, the server wasn't showing ready yet, it was still initializing. At that point, the edge check of that server is not going to be healthy. It's not going to send any traffic, because if it sends traffic, it's not going to go through and the user is going to get 504 error, right? But it's going to make sure that it is healthy before it starts sending traffic to that particular AZ. Then spread instance across multiple subnets for early availability. So like we've said before, right? Okay, then we have launch templates. Please pay attention. Launch template define the configuration used when the AG launches new instance. Now, have you not even asked me? I was expecting people to ask me that, okay, fine, Victory. You said that if you are running application in one server, then automatically, because they discovered that Donald Trump and I look alike, and I'm black and he's white, and a lot of people are coming to my site. Therefore, it's spinning up a lot of server to be able to see this information if it's true or not. How does this new server that is spinning up, how did they even know the application was running? Because initially I installed the application on one server, right, which is the default server. How come that when the new server spin up, and they are not even in the same location, one is in London, one is in whatever, right, AZ1, AZ2, and AZ3, right? How come the other one that just spin up has my application? I don't know if you understand my question.
Yes, we do.
Am I too fast?
Yeah, okay.
No, you're a little fast. I'm sorry.
The topic is tick.
So no, just tell me if I'm fast, I can slow down. But
please slow down a little, please.
Okay, that's good. But you know, we're also trying to work with time, right? Okay, so I will slow down. I said, so let me talk now like I said, right? So I mean, you know, I told you that you have your server. Let us assume you set up one server, and that is the server you have loaded your application, right? But I now told you that with auto scaling, that when auto scaling is acting, and as you get traffic, right, it set up more servers, and those servers add the information that the traffic or the load or the customers are checking for. I said, have you not asked behind your mind that, okay, this new EC2 server that I'm not there, or I'm not the one setting it up, the thing is just setting it up itself. How does it now know my application to run my application? Do you understand that? Do we understand? Okay, I'm assuming you said you did. If you don't, forgive me. Okay.
Maybe I think if the system can be able to set up an instance, is it to know the application to run that it will be an issue for it?
But you are the one configuring it. The system does not know anything. You are the one that will tell the system what they should know. You are the one that will tell the system what application they should start up with when they are starting up.
Oh,
that is what
okay.
makes you the cloud engineer. You handle those things, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. Launch template define the configuration used when the auto scaling group launches new instance, right? Specific AMI, instance type, key pair, security group, user data, network settings, and tag. What am I simply saying? Launch template is you use AMI to set up launch template. I remember what I told you about AMI yesterday. You have your application already running and you create an AMI out of it. So that anytime you set up any EC2 instance and you use that AMI, it's just going to come up with your application anyway. Do you understand? So you're just going to come up with your application anyway. I hope we are still following and we are still together.
Oh, yes, I get it.
Okay, thank you for getting it. Okay, so we said support AMI and all, support versioning. Create a new version when updating the configuration for rolling updates. Support versioning. Then use one pool to keep pre-initialization instance ready for faster scaling. So there's a way you can actually set them in one pool, meaning it's like you are hibernating those EC2 instances, right? So in case there's any reason to scale, you just take it off hibernating and it's ready to go, right? Sorry, give me a minute. Coming. Okay, yeah, I needed to attend to something. Okay, so I hope we get that. Then, what are the scaling parameter? I'll be talking of scaling parameter. You set the minimum, as in what is the minimum instance. So if by default, if for example, you don't have much traffic, like what is the normal baseline, which is the minimum? The desired state, okay, what state do you always want it to be? Do you understand? That's the desired state. What state do you want it to be? Do you always want to run 2 EC2 instance? You want to run 1 EC2 instance? That's the desired state. Then maximum. Also, in as one that I told you, your application can scale. You also don't want to leave it scaling forever. Let me give you an example. Let us assume you have an attacker who is sending a lot of requests. Like, of course, maybe there is we've heard of what's it called? A bot. A bot can just like bang, 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 and the bot keeps eating and sending requests. And your application, of course, sync is a human being that is sending requests, and it's scaled to 2 EC2 instance. And the bot increasing, it's scaled to 4 EC2 instance. The bot increasing, it's scaled to 8 EC2 instance. The bot increasing, it's scaled to 16 EC2 instance. Remember, as you are scaling, you are paying the money, right? And the bot increasing, it's scaled to 32 EC2 instance. And you are sleeping, you have fun. Life is good. Are you getting it now? And there's no even, you did not set up budget, you did not set up alert, you did not set up anything. When you wake up, you will see 128 EC2 instance running, if not 1000 EC2 instance. So, that is good. So, what am I saying, right? In as much that you know it can scale, you need to also set a boundary to the extent at which it can scale. Meaning, yes, my application is going to scale, but please, you cannot set up more than 8 EC2 instance. Do you get what I mean? So that's what you see this maximum, which is the upper bound of the EC2 instance that I can ever get to. So if that bot it, and your application has scaled to EC2 instance, guess what? And there's still traffic coming from the bug. Traffic. Yes, your application will start crashing, trying to restore, but it's not going to scale more than that. And of course, you'd have also set alarm, something to alarm a human to come and intervene, which is human in the loop, right? To come and intervene and see what is happening. And you now go and check, discover that all the traffic, you thought, hey, traffic is eating my site. It means that book I just launched, they are buying it. Hey, they are buying my book, right? And you just go and check and discover that all the traffic of 1 million traffic that came to your website is just coming from one IP address. Definitely that's a bot, right? So you are able to actually do that. So that's why this upper count is very important. Okay, let's go. Scaling policies, right? What are the things you use to scale? Like, what are the things you tell the machine that take note of this thing before you set up another machine on my behalf, right? Target tracking, maintain a metric. For example, CPU utilization or ALB request count. You can see that if 1 million people already hit this ALB scale, right? So you can have ALB request count at a target value by adding or removing instance. So you can say, oh, if about 1 million people hit this my endpoint scale, if it's just about 20 people, I get now, remove instance, right? Then simple scaling, perform a single scale out or scaling motion when an alarm is triggered. So you can also set this, for example, as CPU utilization trigger an alarm. When the alarm is triggered, then you can scale, right? Then set up scaling, use step adjustment to scale by different amount depending on the size of the alarm, right? So you don't just scale at one go, you have to also do some level of scaling. Then schedule scaling, right? Schedule scaling is when you adjust capacity at specific time. I told you, for example, in the night, reduce the number of traffic. In the day, increase the number. In the night, reduce the number of servers we are running. In the night, increase the number of servers we are running. Then predictive scaling. That predictive scaling actually uses machine learning to anticipate demand and schedule scaling. You understand? So machine learning knows, oh, I've studied the pattern. I noticed at this point, this is what happened. At this point, this is what happened. So with that, it's able to actually like schedule. It knows when to scale. It knows when to scale to undo. It's actually very intelligent to undo what to do. So that being said, now, what are the best practices? I always like telling you the best practices. This is key for me. What are best practices, right? Optimize your auto scaling strategy with this recommendation. Number one, set realistic minimum, right? You can't have set realistic minimum. That's what is the minimum, maximum, and desired state that reflect baseline and peak demand. For example, now you are just starting up Like for example, if this my application I'm hosting, my minimum is 1, and it's always running 1 because it's realistic. I know that over 500 people will not hit this site once, right? But in as much that I know over 5, so my minimum is 1, my desired state is 1, my maximum is 2. Anything scaling more than 2, it should come my attention because I don't know what is happening, right? So you set a realistic one. Use health checks like your EC2 plus ELB to replace unhealthy instance. So you use that check. If any instance is not working well, you just change it immediately. That's elastic load balancer anyway. Then enable instant protection for critical nodes and define termination policy. So you have to also enable that. Then apply cooldown period to prevent rapid scale in. So you need to also apply what we call cooldown period, because if it's not, you don't give it cooldown, like give it a time for the new one to settle in. If not, you just keep scaling and scaling and scaling, right? Then test scaling policy under load monitor, metrics, alarm, CloudWatch. So these are things you should put into practice. So now let us quickly go to our lab. I hope we still have time. So what are we going to do in this lab? We are going to configure VPC with multiple subnets. We already did that, right? We have VPC with multiple subnets. I'm going to be creating whatever I'm creating on a public subnet to make my life easy. Your work, you are going to be creating what you are creating on a private subnet to make your life hard, right? But when you experience a lot of hardness and you're able to figure it out, it's still better than click here. She said I should click here, so I'm clicking here. Then launch an application load balancer and define a listener and target group. So we're going to be doing that. Launch an auto scaling group using your custom AMI and launch instance. So on that application, I want us to do something. I want us to do something real, something we can be proud of, right? So this is what I'm going to do. We are going to go to ChatGPT. We are going to tell us to generate a simple, beautiful login application for us. You should zip it up, right? So that we can be able to use it as our launch template. So it should run on Apache. You know, our application is Apache. So that when that EC2 instance starts up, it actually starts with something we can relate to. I know yesterday you people did not know that we deploy web application because you just say hello from EC2. That's actually an application, but I want us to actually do something realistic that you can picture, that you can really understand that, oh, what Victory say is true, right? So for now, I'm going to, let me see. I'm going to be querying everything for you. Okay, discard my changes, keep my changes, I don't know. Okay, so let's go back. What are we using? What browser am I using? Let me see. Okay, is this our browser? Okay, you can see this, right? So this is our browser, right? What did I say? We're using ChatGPT, right? Okay, so I'm going to click on the, is it ChatGPT now? What did I say we're using again? I don't know if you understand what I want to do. Do you understand what I want to do? Did we understand what I said we should do, please?
Yes.
No.
I'm
No.
coming. I want to do it, but I just want to know if you are following me. I said I want to generate a very good application. You know, all these things I've said now. Yesterday we launched an application, but you people didn't even know that we launched an application. Do you know that?
Yeah, we launched a simple HTML stuff like that. Easy to how the
Okay, so yeah, so I want to go to ChatGPT. Don't know if I'm using the okay, so let's do this. Right? So I'm going to do this, right? I'm going to say I also what can you see? I just want to know where you can you see my ChatGPT?
Yes, you're on ChatGPT now.
Okay, yeah, we are all working together, right? Just let me turn on my lights. Oh, it's 5 and it's still bright. It's getting brighter. That's nice. Okay, so what do we want? I want you to create for me a front end application with React right? That enables users to either register or log in to a portal, right? I just want this without backend for now, right? Without backend for now, right? Now, see, I want, okay, I can zoom out, right? I'm just trying to come up with this thing. Okay, can you see it now? Are you good now? Let me see. Let's close. Can we close this panel? Yeah, good. Okay, so I want it zipped, right? I want it zipped so I can use it in my EC2 instance user data, that when the EC2 is up, it comes up with this application, right? Now we want it to be fine. So it should be well styled, well styled, S-T-Y-L-E-D, with CSS and JavaScript. Also, now look at it. Tell me how I can update my user data to run this application. So, yeah. So let us watch, right? I told you, like what we're doing, you should be able to actually understand, because any app you can think of, just watch, it's creating a React backend for me, right? So imagine what it would take us to actually go and start doing the setup NPN, start setting up React. Just watch. It's actually going to give us a zip file. Not just that, it's going to tell us how we can upload it to our EC2. So at the end of this, whatever it is doing, we should be able to actually go to our EC2 instance. You get what I mean? Am I in the wrong? So we should be able to go to our EC2 instance. Let me see. I'm having a lot. Okay, let's do this. Let me do this. Let me move. I want everything to be on one browser. So let's put this one here. So this is our EC2 instance. We've created snapshots. So let me just refresh this guy. So let us see what this guy is doing. He's still thinking. So you say I've crafted the project and prepared sample user data script for Amazon. So it's creating the zip file. So we want to zip the application, right? Directly have what we are doing. So it's going to zip the file. It's creating the CSS now. Of course, I shouldn't tell you how it is. Okay, so what I'm simply saying that if we come back to this our dashboard, if we come back to this our EC2 instance, you know we have an EC2 instance running, right? And before now, right, where is the IP address? If I go to the IP address of this EC2 instance, we did that yesterday, right? Sorry, let me come back again to, okay, running instance. If we come back to this, if we pick this our EC2 instance, right, and we check the IP address, we did this yesterday, right? If I copy this out there and place here, right, this is the IP address. We have hello from EC2 instance, right? But I told you people that this was a web application. This hello from EC2 instance is a web application, right? But you didn't believe, of course, you can't take it. So you can't, I know you can't relate with it. You can't, how is this a web application? So I want us to have a real web application, right? And we're going to actually launch it, right? And when we do, I'm going to share the, first of all, I'll share the IP address. I will now show you how to tie an IP address to a domain name. I'm going to share that without HTTP, without a certificate. Then if we have that time, we are going to attach certificate to it. You are actually going to click on a real domain name and it will come to this application that we've created. I don't know if you understand. I'm trying to give you, this is actually what is being done in everyday life. And this is why, even when you have your idea and you're able to curate this idea, how you can also launch it. Do you understand? And share it. I hope, I just hope you get what I mean. Come on, don't waste my time. So it's creating the vite.config file. All these are what a developer would naturally do for you, right? Remember, you want to see something real. So far, what I have now, you can't relate with it, right? How do you go to LinkedIn? Do you see hello from EC2 instance? How does it relate? So I'm trying to give you something real, something tangible that you can like, oh, you have this. Come on, be fast now, guy. You're wasting our time. So, okay, you say I will render the boots, whatever you're arranging, right? So, but remember this application we have just given to GPT to write for us, right? You are the one actually writing. Look at it, it even wrote the route. It even has dashboard. Yay! GPT is creating full application for us. So it's even creating the authenticating library. God. Okay, but let's see how the application goes. I will also share it, we interact with it, right? So let's just watch it go. So why to save time, why GPT is doing whatever it is that it's doing, right? We can also start setting up other things, right? But before we set up other things, I actually want, it's okay now. It featured a split screen layout. You see, because I said I wanted styling. This will give a clean, organized structure for authentication. Let's start. The guy never starts. Okay. Okay. Okay, why it is there, right? Let us start by creating the other thing so that we'll save time, because we have just about 40 more minutes to go, right? So we already have one of the prerequisites for us to do this. We already have our EC2 instance, we have our VPC. Okay, so it has given us the React app to download. Can you see my screen, please? So I'm going to click on download React app, right? It's going to download the React app. So it's going to tell us what is inside. See, this app, it has register that has created a users, like it is stored in the browser local file anyway. Then login, it logs in the user. Then dashboard, protected page, like redirects to login if not signed in. Then clean, responsive, mobile friendly. Are you seeing the UI now? How to run it on EC2 automatically using user data, right? It says option rate recommended, build once on boot, then save with nginx on port this, right? What is the flow? EC2 boots, right? Install Node.js plus it will install Node.js and nginx. It will download our zip file, right? Then it will build the React app. It will copy it to where it is. Then nginx will boot and nginx will serve it, right? Upload the zip file somewhere EC2 can download. So where do we think we can upload this zip file that EC2 can download? We can just quickly create an S3 bucket that's talking about storage, right? So let's quickly go do that. So we're just quickly going to create an S3 bucket, right? And we are going to call it React. The application is this. So we are going to create an S3 bucket for that. So let's go to our, right? I want to show you something real, what we do, right? So I'm going to come here and I'm going to say S3, right? So I'm quickly going to create S3 bucket and we'll call it I'm going this route because I'm also someone that, so I'm going to click on create bucket. I'm also someone that I always like seeing something real before I can relate with it, right? So that's why I also teach this way. So I'm going to say React app for lab. This is our lab 4, right? Yeah. Get techie. Right? So we're just going to create this bucket, right? So I'm going to create this bucket. So just scroll down and click on a create bucket. So I've created this bucket now. The next thing I'm going to do on that bucket, I'm going to upload that React app I downloaded I'm going to upload it on this bucket, right? So I will look for the bucket I created. Where is the bucket? React app. So I'm going to click on this bucket, right? So this bucket now, I don't have anything on this bucket, right? So I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to actually upload something on this bucket. So if I click on upload, right, take me to where I can upload. I'm just going to click on the add folder. Then I'm going to actually have that. So it takes me to my download. Okay, let me see. Okay, because I say folder. Okay, let me see if I upload file, add files. Let me see. Okay, so I have my React hotpotter, right? So it's not a folder, it's a file. So it's a zip file. So I've uploaded my zip file. Can you see? So what is now the URL of this? Can you see S3 React app this, right? That's my destination anyway. So I'm going to go and I'm going to click on upload, right? So I've uploaded this object now in the S3 bucket, right? Meaning that file I downloaded, right? I now have it here. Okay, once I unzip the React app, let us work with what it's telling us. So we have it already zipped, right? So it said, look at it. It said that, okay, we should upload the zip file, right? So we have S3, our this and our this, right? Which is it. So if the bucket is private, then we need to attach an IAM role to it, right? There's what we call private and public. Public is anybody can pull that bucket, right? So now, how do we use the user data? Can you see? Where's our S3? So we first of all install Nginx, right? We update the system, we install Nginx, then we, of course, we set our pipe for. Then, see, this is actually where we call, this is actually where we install our node, because we need to install node. Application running node, so we need to install node on the EC2 server. I hope I'm not losing anybody. Then, when we do that, see, make directory, we actually create a folder. Can you see? You can do a lot of things without doing it once. So we'll create a folder in hotspot, right? Then we'll CD into the folder we just created, right? And when we CD, then we deploy AWS because we want to be able to pull it, right? So when we install AWS CNI to make sure it's able to pull it, then we do AWS S3 copy. We actually do copy of this S3 and we copy it to react.zip. And this is where we are unzipping it. Can you see where we are unzipping it now? So we unzip it here. Then after we unzip it, then we can actually CD into the what we've unzipped. We do our npm install. If you've ever deployed an application, this is actually how you run an application, you deploy an application, right? You do an npm install, you do an npm run build. So you build that package. Then you remove this. You remove whatever it was in the HTTP before, then you copy your whatever it is you build, you copy it into the HTTP folder, then you enable Nginx, you restart Nginx. And now, if you go to your IP, you'll be able to actually see this application. So let's give it a try. The only challenge we will have here, you see this guy, he might not be able to pull it. So for us to make sure that it's able to pull it, we are going to make this bucket public. How do we make this bucket public? It's not part of this course, but I'm just going to cover it up. I just want us to see something real. I just want us to be happy that we actually did something today, right? So we are going to make that bucket public. Where's our bucket again? Bucket. Yeah, this is it, right? So I'm going to click on this bucket. And now that I've clicked on this bucket, I'm going to go to the properties of this bucket. Then, okay, no, not bucket version. I'm going to go to the permission on these buckets, right? So from the permission, right, if I go down, you can see block public access. By default, when you create an S3 bucket, it blocks all public access, right? But I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to not block public access, right? So I'm going to save changes, right? Then I'm going to confirm that I want public to be able to. If not, if I don't want to do it this way, the other way is to create an IAM role so that this S3 is able to pull from that bucket, right? So I've allowed bucket policy. Then what was the bucket policy? I want it to be allowed. After you unblock, you have to create a bucket policy. And what is the bucket policy? This is my bucket ARM. I want a statement. Remember, I was telling you about policy. So I'm just going to create add a statement. And I said that I want it to be allowed. If it's allowed, principal from star, right? I want everybody to be able to allow it. So if we have this policy statement, Principal allow action. So we want it to allow, what's that bucket name again? It's get techy. What's that file? We want it to only allow the file, not the buckets. Let me see. Okay, let's go back here. Policy. So we just want that permission. Like I said, it's either you do this or you go and create an IAM role and attach it and give the EC2. Okay, you know what? That's even the best. Let's leave this. Let's go back to IAM because we've talked about IAM. So I'm not going to cover much. So let's go to IAM, right? Then in our IAM, right, I want to give this EC2 instance, right? I want to give EC2 instance the permission to be able to what? Access our buckets, and not just access our buckets, to be able to pull buckets, right? Yeah, creating an IAM role is actually the best anyway. So I wanted to put it on the internet, but it's not the best. So let's quickly create an IAM. So I'm just going to come here and I'm going to click on IAM, create IAM. So from IAM, I'm going to click on roles. I'm in IAM and still doing roles. So I'm going to click on create roles. What do I want this tool to do? I want AWS service to be able to access another AWS service. I told you the service cannot communicate except you allow use IAM to communicate, right? So I'm going to create an IAM. Am I still too fast? Please, you can just watch the video because of our time, right? So I'm going to create an IAM. What are the use case? I want it to be EC2 is the one using this IAM, right? Okay, so we go. EC2 is the one using the IAM. Then, now that EC2 is the one using the IAM, what permission do I want it to have? I want it to be able to have permission to S3, right? I want to be able to, let's just for now, we are supposed to only say it should pull objects. But for now, so that we won't have any inch. Somebody was asking me, how do you know the right permission? You know the right permission by tweaking permission. We actually want it to be able to get the bucket, right? But for now, let's just give it full access. It can get the bucket, can get the bucket. So let's click on next. What is the name of the IAM role? I will now say EC2 to, right? Access S3 React tab. Then of course React tab, then they get techy so that we know how to delete, right? So this is we just say we want it to accept, so it's going to give it full permission, right? Then that is it. Tag, always try add tagging, purpose, right? Yes, I will edit my block access, right? So purpose, what is the purpose, right? I want it to what? Get S3. Okay, I should zoom in. Is it to zoom out again? Oh, okay, I'm calling buckets, BUCKT. So I'm going to zoom out. This thing is zoom out enough. Oh, if I will be able to do anything. So we are going to create an IAM role, right? Good. Now we have created an IAM role. We need to attach the IAM role we've created to the EC2 instance. So I'll come and say EC2, right? I'm going to go back to that our EC2 instance because here we created the role, right? But if we don't attach the role to an EC2, to the EC2 instance, the EC2 will not know how to assume that role to be able to get the bucket it wants to get. I hope I'm not losing anyone. Please bear with me, right? We are just trying to do something like real, tangible, that you can fly with, and like I actually deployed an application today, right? So I hope we'll meet up with time, just giving permission. That's why I'm rushing. So we go to our EC2 instance, right? I click on my EC2 instance. This is my EC2 instance, right? I click on it, right? And when I click on it, I'll go to action, right? Under security, right? IAM is under security. I'm going to click on modify IAM role. Can you see that? So when I click on modify IAM role, I've already assigned one IAM role to be able to manage and service manager, but I'm going to like add a new IAM role. I don't want to create a new IAM role. I should be able to add, right? Then update. Okay, let me do this. So what was the IAM role we created just now? Can anybody remind me? EC2 to access S3. Can you see our IAM role now? So I'm just going to update this IAM role, right? So I'm going to update this IAM role. Good. If I wanted to have more permission, I can just add it to this IAM role. But I've updated this IAM role now, right? So it therefore means that right now our EC2 will actually be able to what? access S3 bucket. This guy now can access S3 bucket. So that being said, how do we now update our launch template, being that we've already created the application? That's our user data, being that we've created the application. I'll say come here again to action, right? To action, then there's what we call the instance setting, right? If I click on instance setting, is it instance setting? No, not instance setting. Images and template, right? No. I don't want to create image now. This is when we create an AMI, sorry, right? That's the image. Sorry, let me see. Okay, no, it's instance now. User data. And hey, look at it, edit user data, right? So you click on the edit user data. This is the user data we have, but you cannot edit the user data when the machine is up and running, right? So you see, to edit your user data, you must first need to stop your instance, meaning we need to stop this our EC2 instance before we can actually do this edit here, right? So we quickly go back again, right? We go back and we are going to stop our EC2 so that we can edit our so I'll come here, state stop instance, right? So we are going to stop this EC2 instance now. Do you want to stop it there? I'm going to say stop it anyway, right? So as it's stopping it, was in running state. Very soon you see that it's stopping that instance. So until you stop the instance before we can now start. So it's stopping now. Now that it's stopping, so let's go back again to action, right? Then the instance settings, right? Then we'll scroll down to edit user data. It's still stopping, so it's still not going to allow us, but we're just going to be refreshing until it allows us, right? Okay, so while that being said, you remember this is what we want to copy in our user data. So I'm just going to copy this anyway, right? Then we are going to actually change this S3 copy, right? We're actually going to get the S3 of this, like S3, our bucket name, then this and the application, right? Then where we want to copy it to. So let's go back and see if our EC2 instance has stopped now. So I hope you are seeing it. I hope it's zooming up. So I'm going to refresh this again to see if it has stopped. Where's our refresh button? Okay. Okay, so you can see now we can modify our user data now, right? So I'm going to come here. You know, this was what we had before it was saying hello from EC2 instance, right? So I'm going to come here and I'm going to what? Control V, right? Just paste this. But remember, we are changing something, right? What are we changing? Our S3. Where's our S3 bucket? Let's go look for our S3 bucket. S3 bucket, where are the, oh, we've closed it up. So I'm just going to right click anyway, duplicate this so that we can still be on the AWS. Then we'll quickly go to S3. So I'll come S3. So come to S3 bucket. Are we still following at all, please? Hey, am I losing people? Please don't lose interest. Oh, this is real. This is real. This is not creating EC2 and just walk away, right? Yeah, please. I know you've done a lot of tutorial and you create EC2. You don't even know why you created EC2. You create EC2. So this is our bucket, right? You create EC2 and you just walk away. But we want to copy this is what we want to. So we click on this. This is actually the app we want to copy, right? So we are going to look for this is what we want to copy. Can we see now? So we copy this, go back to this user data, right? And you see S3, AWS S3 copy. Then we're actually going to do this, right? So it's going to copy this, right? And it goes to store it inside the React bucket, right? So that's actually all we need. I've explained all of this to you. So it's going to update the application. It's going to install Node on it. It's going to create a folder called Portal app. Is going to do this. Is going to do a lot of this, right? So we are going to click on save. Now, when we start up this instance, guess what happened? It will start with all of this. It will run this code. Meaning at startup, as the machine is starting up, it will run the code. So let us look at our machine. Now we are going to click on it and we are going to start this machine again, right? So now we'll come back here. I've over-zoomed this thing also. Yeah, let me drop this. We come back here, right? We click on the instance state and we'll click on start instance. So what we are simply saying is that now, if that machine starts up, all things being well and our code is correct anyway, we should actually, when I now check the IP address, now another thing you should know is that now that I've started this instance and I stopped the instance and I started it again, right? The IP address is going to change. right? I've stopped it and started it again. It will change the IP address. The only way you can stop it and start it and retain that IP address is when you actually have to go and create an elastic IP, EIP. Elastic IP is like you buying a static IP, like getting a static IP and attaching to that EC2 instance so that the IP does not change, right? You are reserving that instance, but that's not a problem. So it's initializing. Now, in this case, initializing will take longer time because it's not just initializing to just set up only the operating system. After it has set up the operating system, right, it's going to update the operating system. It's going to install node on that system because we are running a node application. It's going to install the WSCLI, right? And after that, then if it crashes, it's going to crash anyway. I will not see anything, right? So that's where the debugging starts. This work is sweet when things are working. It's not sweet when you have to debug. If you've ever, so I didn't, how will I put it now? I didn't demo this before. I didn't practice it before. So it was just when I was teaching you, I was like, instead of just using hello from EC2 instance, let us even create something tangible and real that you can feel, so that when we actually attach a name to it, it's like it's real to you, right? It's not just, oh, okay, hello from EC2 instance. That's not real word anyway, right? So I hope we are still following. So yeah, let's see. So it's still initializing. It's taking time, but it's will take time because now we know it's now loading more things, right? So let's just see. But let's go and grab the IP address first, and I'm going to be trying it. Also, we have ports 80 open because it's going to start on 80, right? So in as one that is showing running, you know, we are seeing, but let's grab the public IP address. And yeah, it shows that it's running. No. So the IP address before is I have before is 1341.196.114. But now, if I check the new IP, you can see the IP has actually changed, right? So I'm going to press enter and it failed. So it has still not loaded that. It's still showing hello from EC2 instance. Come on. Come on, please. Oh, somebody should feel for me now. Oh, did we not uninstall that? Okay, so let's do this. Okay, we did not uninstall Apache. That's the issue. So it's two ways, right? Either we go and uninstall Apache, right? Yeah, or okay, somebody say maybe it was cached. It's not going to be cached because it's a two different IP address. So it's either we log in to go and uninstall Apache, or let's see, or we just do something, right? What do we do? Just quickly do something, right? So we go, you know, we already have Apache installed with an application installed. We don't even know if what we did is right, if we was able to pull and log. But yeah, another thing is, you know what are we doing? Let's quickly log into the machine and even see if those things actually created, right? So it's very simple. Let's quickly do this. We're just going to log in. No, I told you that's when the debugging starts. So yeah, it's not seeing the application. So let's quickly do this, right? Go back here. Okay, so we are going to log into this application. As in, we are going to log, like, connect to this machine, right? Like, actually even see what is happening. So I'm just going to come here. Look at it. There are different ways of connecting. If you have downloaded your SSH key, you can actually connect with SSH. I'm just going to connect with EC2 instance connect, right? Then I'm just going to click here and we'll connect. I already open it for my own for the port so that I can SSH into it. So I'm just going to connect like this, right? And we're actually going to see the machine, to be honest with you. We are going to see it. See, we are actually on this server right now. So this is the server, this is our EC2, this is our machine, right? So first of all, where am I? So if I do pwd, where am I? Okay, so I'm in Ubuntu. Do I have anything? Which directory? That's another thing. Which directory? First of all, do I even have node? Did they really install the node? So if I do node version, will this guy allow me to see? Oh, node version not found. Can you see? But can be installed. Meaning it did not run my user data. Are we seeing it now? So either I did not run my user data because it has already started. So you can see node is not here. And if we even check which part did we copy the application to? Okay, we copied the application, we made the directory in alt portal, right? So let us go back to this EC2 instance and cd into hotspot and see. Cd, then another thing is, did we use sudo? Let's see, did we use sudo? Oh, no such directory is found. So let us check. Did we use sudo? Okay. We update you install. Yeah. So let us go to a sudo user first. Let us see. So let's act as a sudo user. Let's see node version. Right? So we still don't have node. It never worked. So let us see if we do cd and we actually go on this directory. The directory doesn't exist. So our user data never really ran. Why did our user data not run? Does that mean because we just stopped the instance? Do we need to actually restart the instance? But we actually stopped and started it. So let's quickly do something. Yeah, right? So you see why ChatGPT has lied to us. So, but let's do something, right? Yeah, let's do something. So let's quickly, where is our, because at least even if you could not download this bucket, right, it should be able to at least tell us that I created that part, right? So we want to find out what happened. It didn't create it or what. So, but in case we are struggling with the other user data we have, but let's check this user data first and let us even be sure. Okay, so this is it. So we can't really find anything relating to the parts. Nothing's on that part. Okay, you know what? Let's even go to oh, I thought I changed to sudo user. What happened? Okay, yeah, I'm a sudo user. So okay, we are in Ubuntu. So you know what? Let's go to opt, right? Let's go to opt first. Let's see. So let's see where we are. So we actually have our opt here. So let us list what is in opt, right? opt. Let's see what's in opt and see. There's nothing in opt. It never created anything in opt, right? So that shows why. So let's quickly go back. I want us to do something, right? Let's quickly launch an instance. Who said Ubuntu doesn't use Yum? We are running Ubuntu instance. Ubuntu. Oh, is it Yum that we are using? No, we are using apt-get. We are using Ubuntu now. Who said Ubuntu? I'm just trying to read your comment anyway. So let's quickly do something. Let's quickly launch an instance. Portal registration portal. Let's do this, right? We are still going to use Ubuntu because Ubuntu is actually where our user data is. So while we are doing that, I'm going to come to the other instance and grab that EC2, and grab that user data, right? Wait. So your this there, your EC2, this and this. Okay. Ensure your security group allow this. Option B, Amazon Linux. We're not using Amazon Linux. Okay. So yeah, I'm assuming it's because we already have a web app running, a web server running, right? That's why it's two ways. Either we're going to uninstall Apache, or let's just launch a new EC2 instance and see what we can do with that. Okay, so we'll go to dashboard or instance, go to running instance, and we're going to grab that user data, right? So we're going to go to action, instance settings. Then we're going to go. Did it stop? Okay, I didn't click on it. So, okay, so action, instance settings. We're going to go on our use. Oh, come on, actions, instance settings. Then let's go to user data. Good. So yeah, I thought copy user data. So it's there now. Can't you see that's user data we are? But let's see, right? So we go back here. EC2, AMI. Yeah, we to take this. Just take the default. Keep let's use my keeper in case we need to log in. Although we'll be deleting time anytime soon. So allow SSH from okay. Let's leave this one first. Then I have my root volume, 8 gig. I don't want new volume. Then I go. Then, of course, I told you other advanced, right? Other advanced. Where's my advanced? Yeah, I can just come down here. Now we are going to create the user data. So we are going to create the user data, right? Now you can actually have a script for the user data and you just upload it, right? So, but we are just going to put it here, right? So what it does, like we say, it will update, right? It will update, it will you know what? I'm coming, let me see something. So let's say should we not be sudo user? Should we not be sudo user? That can be the sudo user to install node and pull S3 content. So okay, because the scripts typically run as a root. So for this and this, okay. Okay, so we don't need manually on it. Okay, that's good. So let's quickly go back and launch. So do you see what happened? I was like, maybe because we didn't have the privilege, that's why I could not create it, right? But he's telling us that no, you have the privilege, right? So another thing we are going to do now is we are going to check for the log, but let us allow this application to run. We only have 10 more minutes on our clock, right? See, I wanted to do real life thing, and would have just gone on what we were doing before. Okay, but let's see how it goes, right? So that when we're actually scaling our application, we're actually able to relate with it. Then let me go back and quickly show you what I wanted to show you. So our second EC2 instance is up and running now. Of course, it's initializing, right? So we can another thing is we can also enable login and actually see what is happening as the EC2 instance is creating the logs. That's where we can actually even see, is it even creating it? What is the problem, right? So that's another thing we can do, right? But yeah, let's see it goes. And so while that is going on, right? Remember for this our own application, what we have before, right? If I copy the public IP address, right? Where is it? This is the public IP address, right? If I copy this public address and I go here, and I refresh it, right, or whatever, it's going to show hello from EC2 instance. It's actually an application, right? But I know this doesn't make sense. So how do you tie that application to a domain name? Look at it. The simplest way, first of all, is to actually come to AWS. There's what we call on AWS, there's what we call Route 53. So Route 53 is actually, so in my own case, I've gotten a domain name, right? You can go to GoDaddy or whatever and buy a domain name. You can even go to, if you're in Nigeria, you can go to smartweb.com and buy domain name. So for example, you have a business idea, you have a business concept, right? Just buy domain name. I have 2 domain name here. So I'm going to use the GetTechie domain name, right? So for you to just be able to type, can you see? I'm going to go to this domain name. I'm just going to create a record. So if you have your domain name, you can actually bring the managing of the DNS to AWS. So I'll just come here and click on create record. What will be my subdomain? Subdomain is the name before the main domain name. The main domain name is actually gettechchallenge.com. So I can say lab 2. Is this lab 2 or lab? I can say lab 4. So it's going to be lab4.gettechchallenge.com. It's an A record. This is a different kind of record. And I'm going to put the IP address here. Do you understand? And I want it to populate in 1 minute. And I'm going to click on create record. When this record is created, right? If I go to lab4.gettechchallenge.com, guess what? It takes me to the app. Life is not that hard. So that's actually how you hit. Hold on. Where are you going? So if we copy this now, right? I can also share this with you. If you go to your browser and you hit lab4, although it's not going to be HTTP, right? It's not going to be HTTPS for now because we've not done that. But can you see now, when you hit lab4, can we see now? So instead of IP address, because people don't know your IP address anyway. Do you understand what are we together at all? Have I lost people? Have people given up on me? Oh, they've given up on me. And if I share this domain, please don't give up on me. So if I share this domain name now and give you guys with HTTP, but now that's it. Can you see it's not secure because I did not configure what certificates for you to know it's secure. So if I share this link with you now, if you click on it, you should be able to actually see hello from EC2 instance. How many of you have clicked on it and you actually saw this application? But of course, we want to have real. Oh, God's time, thank you. So God's time has actually, oh, Elijah has also clicked on it, right? So we can actually see. So let's quickly go back to. So that's actually how you deploy an application and you just give a domain name. You get there, of course, it's not ready because we've not configured the HTTP. But that being said, now let us go back to our EC2 instance and see if that one worked. If it doesn't work, I'll create a video of how it works and I will share the video with you and auto scale it, right? Because we need to also work with time. Sorry about that, but I hope it has been helpful. I hope you've learned a lot. So yeah, this is our new EC2 instance. And I need to, so let's uncheck this one and let's get the IP address of our new EC2 instance, right? So this is our new EC2 instance and this is its IP address. So we're just going to copy it and going to check anyway, but nothing's going to work. You know why? This is how oh, it didn't even work. It will not work. Oh my God, we made a mistake. We did not attach the IAM row for it to be able to pull the, the S3 bucket. Do you understand? So it did not really pull the S3 bucket. And there is even no security. We did not attach security to it. So this guy, we have to shut it down and we have to restart it again, right? So I'm going to do this now. So if we do this, nothing is going to show because it could not do what we asked it to do. Can you say, okay, let's make it HTTP anyway, but it could not do, it could not do what it was meant to do. So, and of course, the port is not even open anyway. So we'll quickly come back here again, go back to that instance. We are going to attach the IAM row for it to be able to create, So we'll go to action, right? Which of the instance is this one? No, not the lab. We don't want the get a key lab. We want the other one. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to zoom out a bit because zooming in, I'm not going to actually see everything. Why is it only showing me one running? Let's see. Yeah, I just want it to load. So I'm going to come here like this, our registration and this thing, right? I'll click on it, then come to instance state. I don't not instance state, I'll come to action. I want to attach the policy it needs, right? Come to action, come to security. I'm going to, because without IAM row, modify the IAM row. If you check currently, there's no IAM row. So it didn't even work, it didn't pull it, right? So our IAM row is the EC2 access to get S3. So if you actually check the logs, there was a time it was trying to get it couldn't pull the bucket, so nothing actually ran. It failed at that point, and that's it. But now that we've done that, we can actually restart, right? If we reboot this instance now, right? Click on reboot instance, like we are restarting, just the way you restart your computer. You should now be able to try and load, because anytime you reboot a system, it actually load all those system and user data again, and it's trying to implement it and make it work, right? So far, any question? I know we have a lot we've not covered, but I really want this to work, right? If it doesn't work now, after we reboot and it's still not working, it's simple. I'll make a video this night and I will give you the updated version because you actually need it to finish your project. So do you have any question, please? Let's communicate. Are we still here? Oh, I still have people here. That's nice. Do we have any questions so far while we are waiting for this guy to reboot?
It's unfortunate that the National Assembly that is
unfortunate. Richmond. Why?
sorry.
I know. So
Okay,
yes.
It was a phone now talking. So what I wanted to ask is, all this we're doing, we're not doing it on our own local system. Everything is done on the remote system, right?
Yes.
User data and everything. So
Yes.
there's no point SSHing into the instance.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And you saw when I wanted to connect to the instance, you saw the way I
Yes.
connected to it, right?
Yeah. You connected the instance directly.
Directly on AWS this thing, so that I can
Okay.
just do what I want to do. But if you do, you can also SSH into it. But if you notice, I've not really done anything on the server. I just checked the server to make sure that, oh, was this part created? Why is this not rebooting? It's not rebooting.
Okay.
What's happening?
Okay. All right. Then secondly, during the auto scaling, there is something about warm pool or warm
Yes.
pooling. I don't really understand what that
Yeah, it's a
is.
configuration, and we'll quickly do that. Let me just quickly walk you through.
Okay.
We are going to create a load balancer there and auto scaling group now. Or like I said, because of time. Why is it not? It's not rebooting my instance. Why? This it's not rebooting the instance. So let's see. I will stop it and hey, that even reminds me. It's called we did not reboot. But I hope we actually got something out of this, right? So let's see.
We got a lot.
So you can see we tied it to. I just want the you don't understand. I want the application to come up so that you really see a registration application. You interact with it, and you're like, oh, so this is actually how these things work. Remember, you are not just knowing how it works, you're also going to create everything I've done. So go ahead and get your application up and ready. That's just to go the extra layer that imagine I was deploying a company's application. This is actually how we go through it, right? Do you understand? Another thing, you can even configure, you see this user data, you can tie it to, maybe you build an image, build it into a Docker image. You can just point it to where the image is. So you configure your CI, of course, we'll be doing CI CD by the last day. You configure your CI, whereby because if it's an application, there's always continuous changes. So as the developer make the change, are you getting now? You push it up. It's actually have the ability to work, be able to pick the changes. Those are the things we're talking about, right? So it's has the ability to be able to pull. Why is not rebooting? Successfully initiated reboot, but I'm not seeing the reboot that is successfully initiated, to be honest. Okay, yeah. Someone's hand is raised up. Yeah, let's see your hand. It's yes. If you I can't see your name, but let's hear your question. We have to call it again now. Was it Richmond that raised his hand? No, someone else raised their hand before Richmond. Yeah, Richmond, over to you. Since
Okay, are you going to share the user data with us and the static website you downloaded for us to use?
Yes, yeah, we can use it. No, you can generate your own. I want you to be able to actually like prompt. Oh, we've also configured the security group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, is it Fium? Is it Fium? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, Archibong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear from you.
Yeah, good evening, everyone in the building. I really must appreciate you for what you're doing. Things are not quite that easy, like what people are thinking. And then I noticed that one of the issues that causes this work is most times it can just be you. It might not be that you did the right thing. It's just trying to behave the way it likes. And then this part of the good thing. Most times I think it takes time. If you shut down and then it starts again, then
Yeah.
shut down, it starts again. It takes time to reboot. I think the system is trying to correspond the fact that you did a shutdown before, then want to start again. So it will take a little bit of time. We'll get it right.
So
Thank you
yeah,
so much.
it's a very like I said, we just wanted to like run an application. If you notice I didn't have the application, we just like, okay, let's generate an application, right? So yes, we can do that, like generate an application. It's not part of it, to be honest with you. It wasn't planned, but I just wanted us to see something real, like interact with it.
Try running this on incognito mode.
You said what?
Most times, try running this. Try it again on incognito mode.
The application is not even restarting. That's what I'm coming. The server is not. If even like I can reboot the server, right? I should. Let me see. No, I'm going to stop it. Right? I'm rebooting is not working. So let's even stop it. If it will stop, let's right? So we are going to stop this and we are going to restart it. Let's see. It should be able to pick it up. Because the first time there was actually no IAM role attached to it. So I don't think he actually had anything, right? So he could not really install anything. So let's see now. If we stop it and reboot it, let's see what we can get. Like I said, see, it's not even starting, as in it's not stopping. Can you see it's not stopping? So I don't know what's happening.
Play your card on your browser.
Let's see. Okay, yeah, it's stopping now. That's good. So it's stopping then. Let's see if we reboot. We're actually supposed to do on reboots. Now that he has IAM rule, you should be able to pull it. And of course, another thing that we can actually log into the machine, go check the logs, the boot logs, and actually see those error that it has, right? Oh, the reason why it failed was because of this, right? But now we are out of time because we can't do that much in 2 minutes. So what I will do, of course, I know we need to move on, right? What I will do, I will just, it's still stopping. I'll complete the video like later today or tomorrow, right? I'll actually do the complete video, or we can actually schedule another class and we actually do an end-to-end of it so that you know what to do, especially the auto scaling and all. But scaling real application, not just welcome to EC2 instance, which is what you will see. But we've actually gotten an application now. Are you getting now how to scale the application, how to make it work, right? But of course, I only scheduled 2 hours for this class, so we have to call it a day. But do you have any other questions? Ask me the question in the group. Okay, now it has stopped. So let's see if starting instance can actually see it come up. So we'll start the instance there. We might go and check we'll go and check the boots, right? You understand? We'll not check the boot log to even see what was it trying to download that it failed. Because to be honest, the code is correct. Like, it's a very simple code if you understand the Linux, right? If you understand, is it Linux now? It's a very simple code, right? Like, right? Call normally come with almost every operating system. This is not one. So, like, at this point, it's just like, except this node source is not correct anyway, so it's going to fail. Like, install node 8 setup. This is where we actually installing node 8, and we update the node.js, right? We install node.js. This is where we pull it, we install it, we create a directory, right? And we cd into the directory, right? We install AWS CLI so that it can do AWS S3. And it's able to do AWS S3 because it has an IAM role to be able to do that. That's why we are not configuring username and secret key and access key. The role has the ability to like interact. No, we actually did the role configuration. Initially, why we felt it didn't work before is because we did not attach the role. But now that we have attached the role, we actually believe it should be able to come up and running. So is it trying to? So let's see if it comes up. But yeah, that is it for today. If you have any question, don't forget to drop your question on the group. But let's see if it starts and our application come up, then I will continue from there, do the auto scaling group. It's not really hard. So auto scaling group, they are all here, right? So we have can you see we have the target group. This is where we create our load balancer, and this is where we actually create our auto scaling group, right? So when you click on auto scaling group, so for now on this place, I don't have any auto scaling group. I'm just going to click on create auto scaling group, right? What is the name of my auto scaling group? What's our application name again? We can call it Porter Get Techie Lab, right? That's the name of our auto scaling group. But we have to have created launch template, but we cannot create launch template. And before we can create launch template, we need to create an AMI. So I'm going to take my time explain this in the video, but let's see if our EC2 instance is up, to be honest. Oh, is this still stopping? Okay, so our EC2 instance is up now. Our IP address might have changed. So let's see this. Let's really see if it works, right? If not, like I told you, you go down the debugging rabbit hole. Have I opened this port? HTTP. Oh, see, it did not work, right? In as much that it installs the nginx, can you see? It installed the nginx. You can see it actually has nginx installed, but it did not work. Do you understand? So, because now we are seeing the web server that we've installed, but it's actually not supposed to show us the web server. It's supposed to show us the application. So two things, right? The application did not work. Do we understand what I mean? And we can now log in and find out why it did not work. So on the video, I will actually log in, check the boot startup, and we actually see where it failed from. These are the patterns, these are the debugging steps you need to know as an engineer, because things are not always going to work. In short, 99% of the time things don't work. If you've ever done anything techy before, right? No, not 99%. If you know what you are doing, things do work 50% of the time. But apart from that, things most time don't work, right? So you have to actually know how to debug. You understand what I mean? You have to know, okay, oh, where should I check? For example, I'm going to check the log. What happened? Is it that at what point did it fail? Fine, we can see it install nginx, right? But did it install node? Maybe the node source was wrong. Maybe that was not how we're supposed to install node, right? And if you actually have if I do this, do I have any Ubuntu server? Yeah, okay, let me do this, right? So if I actually have an Ubuntu and I come here, can I really install node like this? Can I really install Node.js like this? So this is where we install our Node.js, right? I'm going to copy it. Can I really install Node.js like this? That's a question. Is this the right point to install Node.js? So let me just quickly connect to this 62 instance, and I'm going to check, is there Node, right? Connect. Very simple to connect because I've opened it before. I've opened it. So I'll connect. Is there Node? I'm going to check the Node version. How come there is no Node? Oh, meaning, and I'm going to run that command, meaning it doesn't install it. Do you understand? So if it doesn't install it, so now I see, I can come and say node. Because if it doesn't install node version, oh, it's installed node. Can you see it's installed node? Can we see the difference that now we now have node? So if it really installed node 18, what happened? Is it AWS CLI? AWS CLI? Command not found. Why? As in, what is not installing? So also we said that we wanted to let me see where we are now. Nothing is there. Now, where's our present working directory? Okay, so if we go to the opt, did it really create this thing? Do you understand? Did it download? Did it create it? Did it unzip it? Right? So if we come here now and list opts, right? Is there anything in it? Yes. Can you see our application is here? Let me zoom out so that you understand what I'm saying. Can you see that at least it downloaded the file? Yes, it did downloaded the file, right? And not only downloaded the file, it unzipped the file, right? Because if you actually list the content of the file, that's if you do ls /hotportal, which is our application, we can actually see there's nothing in hotportal. Yay, that's why you you know, we downloaded the application. We didn't even check if it was working. Oh my God. You know, we never unzipped it to see what is there. Okay. So no, it did not download it because see, we have React Hotportal, right? So now see another thing we're going to do. This application was common. So now we know that this part works, right? We know that this part also works because we saw that it actually created a directory called Hotportal. So we're going to cd into this directory. See what I'm going to do? I'm going to cd into this directory and find out at what point did it fail, right? So I'm going to cd into this directory already, right? So I'm going to cd and paste the directory, right? Okay, no, it's already cd, so I'll have to cd. So let's cd into this directory called Hotportal. Like we are like logging into this directory. So now we are here and nothing is happening. Our IAM role will be the issue. So you see, when we cd into the Hotportal, right? Then what else did we do? We install AWS CLI, right? So we are going to see apt-get AWS CLI to make sure that AWS CLI is able to work, right? Because we actually call it AWS S3. But first of all, did AWS even install? So if we do AWS S3, and I'm going to list S3, LS, right? You see, can you see AWS S3? AWS not found, meaning it didn't install AWS S3. The question is why? So we're going to run that command again because we need to find out what happened. Apt-get install AWS CLI. Permission denied. So we're going to sudo, right? Sudo su. Let's run it as a, or no, let's not just, let's just run it like this, right? I'm going to paste it here. You can see So we see where it failed. AWS CLI has no installation candidate. So this is not how you install AWS CLI on Ubuntu. Are we still together? And now I'm taking this class far. Don't mind me. I like to cheat. So we can see where it failed. We can see the breakpoint. So the question now is how to install AWS CLI in Ubuntu. Because we are using Ubuntu. What version of Ubuntu? I think we are using Ubuntu 24. Then it's going to tell us how to install AWS CLI. Installing, let's get it from Amazon. How did they say we should install it? How come that our installer is not working? Then we need to update our installation script. So yes, we are using Linux, right? Sudo yum remove AWS CLI. We are not now. Yum is not for yum is for this thing. So we're supposed to use snaps and not app. See, snap version, snap install AWS CLI classic, right? Or we do sudo snap because we are working as admin. So this is what is making our application to fail. Do we get now? So if we come here now, and we do sudo snap AWS CLI, and we paste it. Command not fun. For do sudo snap, AWS told us to use this, and you're telling us command not fun. Okay. Command not found. So let's go back to, and that's AWS documentation we are using. Can you see this AWS documentation? So it said it's not working. Okay, snap version, we need to have snap first. So let us see, do we have snap on this machine? Maybe that's why the command is not found. So I'm going to come back to our machine, right? You can drop off, please, if you have something to do, even if you have something to do. So snap version, yeah, we have snap. Okay, so let's do snap install AWS CLI. Why command not found? Yeah, we did sudo. Like, oh, do you see why command is not found? Copy and paste. So we also copy this $sign. Can you see? So let's remove the $sign. And now, so we're installing AWS CLI. At this point now, our user data that we have should work. Do you understand what I mean? Because at this point, we have now installed AWS CLI. Then we're going to do S3 copy, right? So let's go back. This thing must work. At this point now, if we restart this our application, it should actually work because we now notice that the problem we had was AWS CLI and it just could not pull. It just could not pull. We de-installed it, so it could not pull. So we're going to do. How did we copy it then? Oh, let's quickly copy. Let's quickly ask this guy to show us our user data, right? I don't know how we did it again. So let me quickly come here. Security. Is it security? Instance settings, user data. Yeah. So now, right, if we are just changing snap here, like where did we stop? We've passed here, we've passed here. So this is what is remaining. This is what is remaining, right? Copy, and I'm going to just paste everything once. So can we come here, copy, and we're going to paste it, right? And we're going to just press enter. So yeah, so batch command not found. Yeah, system CTL. Okay, because I am not on sudo, so that's fine. So let's switch to sudo user sudo. So Control C first to exit this. Control C. Yeah, so let's change to sudo. So let's use our sudo user. Then let's paste everything here again. I hope AWS CLI is here. Okay, so we can see it's actually building our application now. Can you see it? We have our package of JSON. So this is actually the whole. Can you see it? Unzipped it. Remember, we are following. So first of all, what we said is that it should unzip. Like after we copied it, so you can see it was able to actually pull the application because of the IAM rule. That rule gave it the ability to be able to pull the application. Are we see together? So we can see it pulled the application. It's check the package. Okay, now we can see. So it's building the application. If you've ever built a node application, it's building the application, and now we are here, right? Synchronizing state of engineers. And now it has synchronized engineers. So if I actually go back now to this place and I refresh the app, we should actually be able to see our login app. Come on now. Hey, they are not here with me again. They all left me. I thought they would be proud now. See my people. That's not nice. Come on, come on.
Come on now.
So now we have our login app. Now we are going to tie it to. So I'm going to give you Portal so you can see this is what. So imagine you log into Facebook, you log into this. So this is our login app, right? So we can actually create an account. If we don't have an account, you give us, see, beautiful app. Come on, give it to GBT, right? Or we can sign in. You can see how we are switching between login and sign in, right? And of course, if you are able to successfully register and sign in, so come on, let's. So now this is our IP address. So remember, I told you we tie it. So this is what you do. Like this is your work as a cloud engineer, as a DevOps engineer. You deploy application. If you have glitches or you have issue, you make it work. Life is not that hard. So I'm going to create another record now, right? So what do we call this one now? Lab what? So I'll come again, create record, right? Then I'm going to have what's subdomain now? We are going to say lab 4 -portal, right? And it's going to be gettechchallenge.com. Remember, I told you it's an A record. There are different types of record, but we're going to put it as an A record. We're going to put the HTTP, and we're going to what? Make it 1 minute so that it will populate fast, and we're going to create record, right? Yeah. Value is not. Oh, can you see? I love this. Can you see? Because of my excitement, I passed the HTTP. It must be an IP address, right? So I'm just going to remove this, right? And I'm going to just like, okay, now we cannot save our value. So we create a record, and now that we've created the record, it will be our name again. So what's our domain name again for this application? Lab 4 portal, right? So now, if I come here and give you a Lab 4 portal, you might not go to this extent for your project, to be honest. If you can, because for you to do this Lab 14 or whatever, you need to have your own domain name. But how many of you can access this? Click on this domain name and access it and tell me you can access it. So I know I've taken extra 31 minutes of our time. I will complete the video of the auto scaling, share also on the portal, right? Then we can actually, I will show you how you create an AMI and do the auto scaling and do load balancing. Is that okay? Who was able to access my application? Come on now. Show us some love now. Application accessor, are they all gone? So you can see when we do our Lab 4. Yeah, is it not working? It's HTTP, but you can see our Lab 4. Has anybody been able to access it? I'll make it HTTP instead of HTTPS. Okay. Or if you can try incognito, try another, just try incognito. Or except your application does not allow your browser does not allow anything not secure. Who else has been able to actually access it? Can you try HTTP? It will tell you that this site you're about to access is not secure. So there's a way you can actually click on proceed anyway. Has anybody been able to access it? Are we still here at all?
I've been able to access it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. So someone has been able to access it. Any other person? So, like, this is the beauty of it, right? You've been able to concept think of an app, actually creating it, hosting it, giving it a domain name, although we are not done because we are supposed to actually have a certificate, SSL certificate. So there's not be, now you can see it should not secure because it's not HTTPS, it's HTTP. So I'll be covering all of this in that video, that's like a follow-up video to actually finish this class. I made this route. If based on what I have before, we can try cover it, but I don't want you to just be thinking it's an imaginary thing, right? So you can actually see us setting up an app and actually being able to make the app work, the debugging process, right? Why did this thing not work? What is the issue? Let us debug. At what stage did this stop? Why did it crash? All of that, right? So those are the feedback we look for. Okay, so thank you very much. I will be uploading the video so that you can please have the watch. Then I will do a follow-up video either today or tomorrow to complete what, so that you will be able to have idea of what you are doing when you are doing your projects too. I hope this helped you a lot. And yeah, thank you and have a wonderful evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for the time.
You
Thank
have
you.
worked.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
much.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.